Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're going to call to order the Effingham County Board of Commissioners meeting this December 15th, 2020 at 5 o'clock p.m. I'm going to stand with you. Please rise with me for the invocation and remain standing for the pledge of allegiance to the flag. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much again to be able to come together tonight. I thank you for the health of these board members and those in the room. And I just lift our country up to you and our community to you and pray that you continue to give us the protection we need and the wisdom we need to continue to defeat this pandemic. We thank you for your grace and how you watch over us. Bless us tonight with wisdom to make those decisions that are pleasing to you and are good for our community. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 4 of the agenda, we're at now consideration of the resolution to approve the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we do have an addition to the agenda under new business number 7. Consideration to approve a service delivery strategy agreement between Effingham County and the cities of Lincoln, Springfield, and Cotton. That is the only addition.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the agenda with the item, adding the item number 7.
Make a motion to approve with item number 7. Second.
Motion by Mr. Local and second by Mr. Kiefer. Now, when I say all in favor, say aye. Then Jamie, I'm going to listen for your voice after that, so we can know how you're voting as well. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Deloach? Okay. All opposed, no. Hearing none, it's unanimous. And we'll follow that procedure, so we'll make sure we get Commissioner Vice Chair's vote in the record. Item number 5, considerations to approve the December 1st, 2020 regular Commissioner meeting minutes. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, motion by Mr. Floyd to approve those minutes. A second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Burdette. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Thank you. All opposed, no. And it carries unanimously. I want to welcome our public tonight, all the brave ones who come out wearing their masks. We appreciate it. I invite you to comment on the agenda when the time comes up. Of course, our agenda items are on the clerk's office and on our website. Hope you get a chance to review those and prepared. Ask you to make your comments to the agenda items only and keep those 2 or 3 minutes so that everyone who would like to speak to it can have a chance to speak to an item. And with that, it is now 5:06 and we have an appearance tonight from Reverend Dan at 5:10, but I see he's already here. So Reverend Dan, if you would like to go ahead and make your presentation, the board welcome tonight.
My name is Roland Dan. I live at 181 Highland Point Drive, or Road, however it's listed. I've been here for 26 years, and I'm coming here representing myself, no one else. I don't feel the need to strong-arm the county commissioners. Y'all are men just like we are, and I'm coming here tonight to plead to the county of Effingham for something to be done for our road. It's probably one of the shortest roads in the county. It's less than probably 400 yards long, but it is in dilapidated condition. It has become a safety problem. You can't ride bicycles on it. The kids can't ride anything on it because it's so rough and so deplorable. And I brought some pictures, if I could give them to you to see. if you don't mind. It won't take but just
I've
a,
already got the pictures. Did she hand those to everybody already? So everybody's got those pictures, I believe.
you got,
Yes, she handed them out to us.
oh, these are just some I just made up. I don't think they've got,
Those are from EOM from last
Oh, you
week.
got some additional pictures?
Okay, yeah, we had taken some pictures ourselves
Oh,
too, so.
oh, well, these are-
And I'll send you, you
just
need
pass
a
those
copy of
around.
it.
No, sir.
I assume those are the same pictures. I apologize.
That's okay, that's all right. But I just would like to ask that you give us some consideration. I've been trying to get, our street has been trying to get our road paved for probably the last 7 years. Several years ago, we sent a petition with all of our signatures on it to the county commissioners and asked them if they would put us on the agenda. And to this date, I don't think we're even on the agenda. We've lost a couple cars, small cars. But it's sad when our road is so bad and we just need help. Gentlemen, I don't want to waste your time, but look at this road, ride down it if you haven't ridden down it. We can't mow out near the road. The rocks are so bad, they've broken up and they're falling into our ditches, which please don't pull our ditches. They don't need it. We try to mow them and keep them nice, but we need your help. That's all I came here to say.
Well, I appreciate it. Matter of fact, I may see if the county manager or Kristen's here tonight at BOM, they may want to respond and give you some thoughts on what they have planned for your road.
I would love to hear it.
And I can give you just a little bit of background too. Obviously this is an ash road, and when we came up with the Hurricane Grayson list, this was not one of the roads that was on it. So it did not get surface treated as part of the Hurricane Grayson list. However, we are finishing that after 3 years. We're finally getting through that list, and allows us to actually start when the weather, because now we're going through the cold, so we have to do this in kind of warmer weather, so it'll probably be March-ish. So now that that list is past us, we can then go back to the roads that have not been addressed under Grayson, and this would be one of them with our in-house crew and the equipment that you all approved several years back after Winter Storm Grayson. We've been trying to, in the meantime, with this and some of the other roads that missed, unfortunately, getting on that list, we've been trying to buy some time patching where we can. But if any of you have been on this road, you start off thinking that you're okay until you get to that turn. And it's practically dissolved in certain areas, all of the ash, and so it really it can't be patched at this time. It's going to have to wait till or certain areas can't be patched. It's going to have to wait till the spring, and it is one of the roads that we're on our recommended list for the chip and seal program. So it'll give it kind of a fresh look. It'll also help grade it a little bit because it's going to build up the surface of it so it drains a little bit better and it doesn't collect the water in that turn area. But that's where we are right now. And I apologize you had to wait so long for this, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. So
You're thinking this might, when you get warm weather, March, April, could be addressed?
That's right.
Check your maybe, yes, yeah.
But the little machine, the truck that goes along with the stuff and it's a real fancy truck, that won't do it.
That's not what we're talking about. That's just a patch truck.
Because they've been down there a dozen times.
Yeah.
It lasts about 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's just a patch truck. This will actually kind of give it all kind of it's not going to be a full asphalt surface, but it'll be a fresh surface for the road. It's never had before, and it with the amount of traffic you get on there, I imagine it's going to last years.
Tim, this is the chip and seal, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We bought some equipment, Reverend Dan,
Okay,
after that ice storm and so forth, and
right.
to address these ash roads until we can get, we're experimenting right now, we just played some asphalt. I guess it was an asphalt surface we experimented with, where you use the base, use the ash as a base, with some mixed in concrete or something, and we won't know how that's gonna hold up until we get about another 6 months to a year.
Yeah, I would say by spring we should know on that. I mean, that's the full depth reclamation.
That's full depth.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna do some of our ash roads with that, but we bought the chip and seal, which is how Little McCall Road was built years ago. They put the emulsifieds down, and they put the chip block in it, and they roll it out. You know what I'm talking about, chip, so it's like an asphalt surface. Is that a fair
Yeah,
discussion about what chip and seal looks like?
yeah.
That's good.
It's a thinner, but yeah, pretty much.
It's not gonna be.
So it's different than a patch, much different than a patch. So this will be a much better surface than,
I'll leave you with a 4-letter word,
okay?
help.
Okay,
That's all I need, help, please.
you got it.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, too, sir.
About. Okay, and I think Teresa Bender has counsel.
Yes, sir, she has, so.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and move into our old business. We have 2 items of old business. The first one is the second reading. Consideration to approve the second reading to amend Part 2, Appendix C, Article 5, Section 5.9, uses permitted in districts of the Code of Ordinances of Effingham County. Do you have a motion to approve the second reading?
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Floyd, second by Mr. Burdette to approve the second reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Vice Chair? Is Jamie still on?
Thank you, here.
Is the Vice Chair still on the phone?
Oh, Jamie, can you hear? That was for the,
Yes, I'm here.
okay.
Burdette, yes?
Yeah, that was the second, yeah, that was the second readings, item number 1 and 2 under old business, or item number 1.
Okay.
Yeah, for that.
Okay.
Call for a motion.
Yeah, call for motion, okay.
All opposed, no? Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Second reading, I'll try to talk louder for you, Jamie, so you can maybe hear. Consideration to approve the second reading to amend Part 2, Appendix C, Article 5 of Section 5.10, uses permitted in districts of the Code of Ordinances of Effingham County. I'll need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Lothar, who seconded? Mr. Floyd seconded. All in favor of the motion of the second reading, say aye.
Aye.
Vice Chair? All opposed, no. And it carries. We move to our new business. Item number 1, our new business, consideration to approve to amend the intergovernmental agreement and a resolution to support the Effingham Hospital.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, staff is requesting approval of an amendment to the existing agreement and a resolution of support as well. Effectively, the changes to this agreement, if you recall, the existing agreement is associated with indigent care and assisting the county, assisting the hospital to pay off a bond. Requires the county to contribute a fixed amount every year, about $3.6 million, towards the retirement of that bond. There was a meeting with Vice Chairman Deloach, the county attorney and the county clerk and myself with the hospital. Their attorney was there, as well as the CEO, Fran Baker-Witt, who's with us today, and Lanisha Kelly. I see Al, the CFO's here. Their request to us, will result in 2 changes to the IGA. The first change relates to issuing of new bonds to replace the existing bonds. So it changes the series of the bonds from the 2010 to 2020. The payment that the county makes stays the same, and the maturity or the expiration stays the same. But the principal amount, because of this refinancing, will also increase by about $9 million. And it is related to several capital items that they are in the process of taking on. Standalone cancer center as one of their largest growth areas, and an area of need, as well as a pediatric center, purchase of land for expansion in the southern end of the county around Effingham Parkway and Goshen. And I think there was one other item on there. What? Oh, HVAC improvements throughout. And so those are the additional capital items. And there is also a need to do this because when they got approved for these bonds, they were able to get a subsidized interest rate from the FHA that was associated with them being a rural county in an area that is of economic need. And based on the current criteria, we no longer meet that. And so therefore, there are the potential of watching their interest rate on the existing bonds double. This would refinance those bonds into a fixed rate without that risk at a lower rate, and basically give us a steady amount to pay off on an annual basis to their insurer. I think, did I do okay on that? Okay.
What's the difference in the rates?
And they are here if anyone has any questions on this.
What's the difference in the rates, the new bond versus the old bond with the inflated rate?
Well, the original bond, I think we were paying somewhere around 3%, and then because we're losing that that subsidized benefit, it was up to about 4.5%, I believe, this year, and it has the potential to going to just shy of 6 if they begin to charge us the full unsubsidized rate.
And the new rate will be?
3.9%.
Is that lock variable or is it locked in?
It's locked in.
You know, we recognize that Rebecca Witt is with us tonight, and she's brought a couple of her staff. I if you want to introduce them so people can be more familiar. I know Misha Kelly, most of them know that may not know your CPA or your county.
Okay, this is Mr. Al Allred. He's
Good
our
day.
CFO. Our chief. Sorry.
While you're coming, just it's good for them to recognize and know your staff because y'all are a vital part of this Effingham County. And
Thank
we're
you.
so appreciative to have such a well-run hospital that continues to save lives because a lot of people cannot make it to Savannah without first coming here. So a lot across the state, I know a lot of, because of callbacks, a lot of rural hospitals have closed. It has changed their health care in that area. So we are proud that you're doing so well and being strong. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to come before you. This is Mr. Al Allred. He's our Chief Financial Officer. He's been with the health system since 2017. And of course, you all know Ms. Lamisha Kelly. She just recently joined the health system in the capacity of the Executive Director for Strategic Growth and Business Development.
You got two good ones right there. That's great.
I think so.
Yeah.
Any questions for me?
Another question?
Where you got to build a new building for this? I mean, you don't have any plans that we can look at or anything, eh? We just
Well,
okay the money.
well, yeah, just okay. No, I'm sorry. No, don't just okay.
That ain't good. It's not good.
Well, the old IDA building chamber, where the Chamber of Commerce is, we recently entered an agreement to purchase for a pediatric center. So that's part of this campaign and this strategic initiative. We've experienced over a 80 to 100% increase in pediatric growth since 2017. So it's definitely a need for the community. The Cancer Center expansion, we've outgrown the area where the current Cancer Center is, and you all probably know the building that's directly across from the entrance, which was a practice. That's the building that we're going to renovate for the new Cancer Center.
The one behind the hospital?
That's correct.
Okay.
Any other questions?
And
We appreciate your support.
We appreciate your support as well. One thing to recognize what our county manager just shared with us, it's not an increased obligation on the county, it's a reorganization of this.
That's correct. So the only thing that changes is the names of the bonds and the principal amount. But the dollar amount's the same, and actually the millage keeps going down because as the digest goes up and it's a fixed expenditure every year, the amount of mills that's required to pay that goes down every year. Where I think it was once at 2, it's down, I think about a little below 1.8 right now.
Very good. Appreciate you.
All right,
Like I
thank
say,
you.
you guys do a wonderful job. If I have to have tests or anything, then I ask to go to the Effingham Hospital.
Thank you. Thank
I really
you.
appreciate what you're going to do there.
We appreciate you all as well. Any other questions?
Thank you, Ms. Lee.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions, discussion from the board? Motion to approve alternative 1.
Make a motion to approve alternative 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Burdette, second Mr. Floyd to approve alternative 1. All in favor say aye.
Uh-huh.
Vice Chair? All opposed, no. It's unanimous. Thank you guys for being here tonight. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but if you need to exit, that's okay too. We won't not stop you. Item number 2, consideration to approve to renew an agreement with EMS Consultants for EMS Billing Services.
Good evening, Allison Bruton, purchasing agent. Effingham County currently has an agreement with Colleton to provide the EMS billing services, but Colleton did not accept anything that had been previously billed out by the previous vendor. So staff is recommending alternative 1 to renew this agreement to continue monitoring those open accounts that they still have. Any questions?
Any questions, discussion from the board?
Make a motion to approve alternative 1.
Second.
Motion Mr. Loper, second by Mr. Burdette to approve alternative number 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Vice Chair? All opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. Item number 3 under new business, consideration to approve to amend contract 21-002 with Robert Civil Engineering LLC.
Yes, sir. On November 3rd, 2020, a contract was awarded to Robert Civil Engineering for the on-call CAD support services. Once we sent that to them, it was brought to our attention there were some grammatical errors in that contract that do need to be corrected. And they've also requested that the workers' compensation insurance limit be lowered from $1 million to $500,000. So staff is recommending approval.
Any questions or discussion?
Why would they ask to lower that? That's pretty standard in the industry, I thought, $1 million. That's.
It's
I
what
don't see
we've
that
had.
saving-
Yeah,
I don't see
it's,
that saving them that much on premium either, so I wouldn't be in favor of that.
okay.
I think we need to protect the county.
Do you want to weigh in to that question? Have you reviewed this and what do you think?
I did, I reviewed it, it was published when they did their bid, so they knew it was there, so if they overlooked it then, and now want to revise it, I've seen it both ways. I think we have some actually that are probably 500,000, but this one was amended, so.
I'm sure it's more that it's a professional service versus.
Well, I mean, this is part of the workers' comp, not the professional liability. Professional liability will be the million, I believe, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think this is only workers' comp, but they wanted to reduce the million to 500,000.
And I think the issue on this, why we kind of went both ways on it, was simply because we are talking about computer-aided design services, and the potential for any sort of.
That's why I was kind of getting that, I guess. But.
Yeah.
So it's all office There's nothing to do with anybody outside, it's all just CAD?
I think
Yeah.
it's strictly CAD, yeah.
Yeah, this is strictly
This is
CAD.
specifically CAD support
So
services.
they don't go to the site with a hard hat.
Potentially if it was surveying and they had surveying.
That's what I
crews going
mentioned,
out,
you said engineering.
This is,
Yeah.
We have a separate on-call surveying contract with a different company. So this one's strictly CAD.
Okay. I'll be fine with
Okay. All right, do I have a motion to approve alternative one?
it. Make a motion to approve alternative one.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Burdette, second by Mr. Loper to approve alternative one. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Vice Chair? All opposed, no. And it passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Item number 4, consideration to approve to ratify and affirm the submittal of an application to the Georgia Public Library Service for a major repair and renovation grant.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this came up at a recent advisory board meeting with our partners at Live Oak Libraries, which are Chatham and Liberty. They were taking advantage of recent grant awards, which are essentially 50% that goes towards lighting upgrades in their facilities, basically energy savings. So we had them review what our needs were in the Lincoln and Springfield libraries, and we thought it was a good opportunity to take advantage of some grant funds and make some upgrades at facilities and get it half paid by the feds.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? Motion to approve alternative one.
Make a motion to approve alternative one. Second.
Motion by Mr. Loper, second by Mr. Kiefer for alternative one. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Vice Chair? All opposed, no. And it passes unanimously. Item number 5, application, consideration to approve an application to the Georgia Department of Transportation for local maintenance improvement grant. That's our LMIG funding.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is for the LMIG for 2021. And the project list is listed on your sheet. This would require a 30% match to the grant funds. Staff is recommending alternative number 1.
Any questions or discussion?
Oh, and one other point I bring is a little bit lower this year, because while we have not seen negative effects of sales tax in the county, the state has. And so usually we expect it to be higher every year this year because of COVID reduction in the mostly
Some of the state revenues are down.
the state revenues. It's negatively affected us. So
I
last year we got about
I saw
$1 million.
recently that some cuts they were making in human resource, whatever, that does the feed programs and so forth, or there was some cutting. Are they going to reinstate that because revenues have been good?
But this is based on gas tax.
Okay.
And so you had all those months of nobody
So the
driving.
revenues could be fine as the gas, I got you. Makes sense. Any other questions or discussion? Motion for alternative one.
Make a motion to approve alternative one.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Floyd, second by Mr. Kiefer to approve alternative one. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Vice Chair? All opposed, no. And it passes unanimously. Item number 6, appointments. Consideration to approve the reappointment members. Consideration to approve to reappoint members to the Recreation Board.
Yes, Mr. Chairman and board members. Last meeting, we approved members to the planning board. Now we're needing to update the members to the recreation board. There are 5 members on this board, and to my knowledge and understanding from the recreation director, they all wish to remain. Their terms have all expired, and if you'll note, the staff report, it details the dates of the upcoming expirations to be effective January 1, 2021. So some of them will expire on 2022, and 2 others will expire on 2025. So staff recommends reappointment of the 5 members, current members,
What the difference in terms?
because they're staggered based on your terms.
Won't go all
The
at the
board
same time.
commissioners' terms. Right.
I don't know if you can answer this, Mr. Lee, but what is the authority of the recreation board? I know back when we were in a different size county, we needed that. We still need the board of like citizens input. I'm just wondering if we ever need to look at making it more of an advisory board, but if that's all it is, then we don't need to change it anyway. But does it have any authority from the commissioner? Do you know?
I have no idea. I have to look at it. I would think it's advisory, but I'd be surprised if they had some sort of legislative.
I didn't know if we'd give any authority to buy, purchase, or whatever. Because if we have, we probably need to relook at that. And I think keeping an advisory board is good to have the community involved in recreation. But when I saw this, it made me think about, I wonder, do we give them the authority that we need to pull back from now and just make it more of an advisory to our staff and to the board? You know?
That's my understanding. I think we discussed this years ago, but I think it is just an advisory.
Okay. Y'all may want to have a discussion part of mine.
From our opinion.
Okay. Any other questions, discussion from the board? Anybody who gets to a point, if you looked at that and you're good with the reappointment? If you are, I need a motion for alternative 1.
Make a motion to approve alternative number 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kiefer, second by Mr. Loper to approve alternative 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Vice Chair? All opposed, no. Any carries? And we have one additional item, number 7, consideration to approve a service delivery strategy agreement between Effingham County and the cities of Lincoln, Springfield, and Guyton.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, staff is requesting approval of the stipulation agreement, which is part of the state law requirement under the Service Delivery Strategy Act. We will then submit this. We've had multiple meetings with the municipalities on this. We believe they're in agreement, although when it gets passed by us, it's going to have to go through them to get approved. And I will say there's a couple of items to note on this. The big one is what we've done is established a set rollback. So therefore, we won't have to go through the process of the true-ups every year. And it will also give us increased flexibility on the county side with our budget. And within the forms, it references, makes reference to the fire agreements that we now have in place, whereas the previous one, we did not have an agreement with Guyton, and we were operating under an old agreement with Lincoln. Staff is recommending alternative number 1.
Any questions or discussions from the board? We did have multiple meetings with the cities regarding this service delivery strategy. It really hadn't worked out back in May, I believe. There was just some tweaking in the language about water and sewer, ability to serve, and certain ones were going to give us some language they wanted, they didn't, so we got together and put the language we believe answers what they wanted, and we're going to shoot it back, and we need to get this approved.
So they've already agreed to this.
Yes, in
Verbal, I mean, yeah, they haven't been.
we had multiple meetings, but the last meeting, and I think it was the city of Lincoln, and at that time, I think Brett was representing the guy in Springfield. They had some language they wanted for the water and sewer. It didn't conflict with what we were interested in. They said, well, just put that language in and give it back to us. So here we are, almost 6 months later, we didn't have it, so we have gotten with Brett and put the language that we believe answers their issue, and we're going to shoot it to them. We're going to try to move that ball down the court. But that was only really difference, and it wasn't really a difference, it was just a clarification.
That's right, and it didn't materially affect the county on the way we tweaked it, so I think we should be in pretty good shape.
And what this agreement does that I like about it for the board, just to kind of know, roads and recreation and parks will not have to be kept in a special service district if we don't want to any longer. This gives us the freedom to put it back, and that'll be Christie and the board's decision. We can talk about that. If it's easier to put it back into the general fund, because we're doing a rollback, they show us a special service district tax, but it's going to be really a rollback. It allows us to freely use our general fund. So no longer are we going to be strapped if we overfund the roads or underfund. There's no true up. And we get to use all of our unincorporated revenues in our special service district if we so choose. We listed those revenues that we collect on unincorporated areas. So it's a really good compromise, I think, that makes it a lot more flexible for us in the future. And we won't have to look at it until there's a trigger or 10 years, whichever comes first. Any other discussion? I entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve all number 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Loper, second by Mr. Burdette to approve alternative 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Vice Chair?
Jim?
Vice Chair voted?
Yes, I'll vote for it. I
Okay.
can't hear anything.
Oh, there's the service delivery
Service
strategy
delivery.
agreement.
All opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Very good. All right, we've got a little time. We'll go into our reports from our administrative staff before we get to our public hearings. I tell you what, let's go to executive
Yes,
session
sir.
first and come back and do that. You got about just enough time to do that
Yes,
and get
sir.
back. So can I have a motion to go into executive session, and we'll come back with reports later.
Make a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel, property, and pending litigation.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kiefer, second by Mr. Burdette to go into executive session. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Vice Chair, executive session. Vice Chair, executive session, vote yea. You tell me.
I don't think you can hear me, so.
Well, we got a unanimous anyway. Majority,
Yes,
all
ma'am.
opposed, no. And we're going to go into executive session. We carry
Make a motion to go back to regular session.
Second.
motion by Mr. Loper, second by Mr. Burdette to go back into regular session. And I'll note that Mr. Vice Chair Deloach is not with us for the rest of the speech. So all in favor of those who are present, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And it is unanimous with the members who are attending. And we'll move into our public hearings. Apologize for being a little tardy tonight, our public hearings for those who are here, but we don't have that many, so it should go fairly quickly. Item number 1 in the public hearing is the planning board recommends approving an application by Matt Anderson, agent for Otis L. and Joyce G. Reese, to rezone 2.98 acres located at 394 Height Landing Road from AR1 to AR2 for the creation of 2 home sites, map number 297 and parcel, map number 297, parcel 30 in the first district.
It's actually a 3.9 acre parcel, and it's going to be divided into...
3.98?
Yeah,
Change
total.
my
And
agenda.
it's supposed to be divided into a 2 acre parcel in the rear, accessed by an easement from the road, and the front parcel will be 1.98 acres. It's currently AR1, and it has to be rezoned to AR2 in order for me to sign it. And staff recommends approval.
Okay, we'll open a public hearing on this and see if there's anyone who might like to speak for this rezoning.
Good afternoon, Board. I'm Matt Anderson. I'm the surveyor representing Mr. Otis and Ms. Joyce. And as you guys did correct, it is 3.98 acres that we wish to rezone to AR2. Mr. Otis and Mrs. Joyce have a son, Joseph Reese, who wishes to put a modular home on the 2 acres in the rear. And obviously we got to rezone it to AR2 to be able to do that. He and his wife are going to put a new modular home on parcel A And it is under my understanding that Mr. Otis and Ms. Joyce are both disabled, and this would enable their son and his wife to be close to them to help them with any needs that they have in the future.
Sounds good. Anyone tonight speaking against this rezoning? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. See if there's any questions from the board, and I'll entertain the motion at the same time.
Make a motion to approve with board and staff recommendations.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Floyd, is it Mr. Kiefer, I heard? Okay. Second, Mr. Kiefer, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And carries.
Thank you.
Item number 2 is the second reading. Consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Matt Anderson, agent for Otis L. and Joyce G. Reeves to rezone 3.98 acres located at 394 Height Landing Road, AR1 to AR2, for the creation of 2 home sites, map number 297, parcel number 30 in the first district. Motion to approve the second reading.
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Motion Mr. Floyd, second by Mr. Burdette to approve the second reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And it carries. Item number 3. The Planning Board recommends approving an application by the Effingham County Industrial Development Authority for a variance from I-1 buffer requirements for a parcel located on Old River Road for the purposes of installing a dewatering force main and sediment pond map number 329, parcel 41A in the first district.
So this is a request for a variance from the buffer requirement, and this is zoned industrial. This is zoned AR1, the land adjacent to it, that's going to be impacted. And so because of that, there's a 300-foot buffer requirement between industrial and AR1. And if it were zoned industrial, it'd be a 25-foot buffer requirement. So it's just sort of a function of that land not having been rezoned or been reverted to AR1 after the pit was dug. And that was really, it's just a matter of the zoning. It's not that it's particularly residential use. It's that it was reverted to AR1.
This was to alleviate some flooding, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
And the engineers here discussing it.
Okay. So we open a public hearing. Anyone speaking for this variance?
Good evening. Trey Wilkins with Thomas Dutton here representing Brayton Herndon and the Effingham County Industrial Development Authority. Pretty much we're trying to work out a situation with their neighbor. Right now they have an active permit to discharge from the bar pit, and the active bar pit is the bar pit behind the house that fronts the new parkway that was built a couple years ago. And there's just not right now adequate drainage on the southern portion of the property to handle that flow when they dewater. So this is just an attempt to route the discharge to a better spot on the property to where it won't cause any flooding.
Anyone tonight speaking against this variance request? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. See if there's any questions, discussion from the board.
We've been working on this a while, trying to address these flooding problems. So I make a motion that we approve with planning board and staff recommendations.
Motion by Mr. Floyd to approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kiefer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And carries.
Thank you.
Second reading, consideration to approve the second reading on application by Effingham County Industrial Development Authority for a variance from the I-1 buffer requirement for a parcel located on Old River Road for the purposes of installing a dewatering force main and sediment pond, map number 329, parcel number 41A, in the first district.
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Motion Mr. Floyd, second Mr. Burdette to approve the second reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And the second reading is approved. Item number 5, in the public hearing, the planning board recommends approving an application by Marion T. Lanier III to rezone 2.56 acres out of 7.99 acres located at 3529 Blue Jay Road from AR1 to AR2. This is map number 374, parcel number 5 in the first district.
So the proposal is to split off two parcels and rezone that acreage. One is 1.25, one is 1.3. And then the center area, lot 2, is going to remain as 5.4 acres. So it can remain AR1. The two proposed parcels have to be rezoned to AR2 because they're less than 5 acres.
Okay. We'll open the public hearing. Anyone speaking for this rezoning? Anyone tonight speaking against
Good
it?
evening, this is Sean Reeder on behalf of Engineer the Third. Thank you for this consideration. I'm just available should there be any questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Reeder. Just let Mr. Reeder on the phone, and if you have any questions, he'll be glad to answer. Anyone tonight speaking against this request? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing, see if there's any questions or discussion from the board. Is there a motion for alternative 1? I think we've got alternative 1 here to approve.
Make a motion to approve the planning board and staff recommendations.
Motion, Mr. Floyd.
Second.
Second, Mr. Burdette. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Any carries. Second reading, consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Mary T. Lanier III to rezone 2.56 out of 7.99 acres located at 3529 Blue Jay Road from AR1 to AR2, map number 374, parcel number 5 in the first district. Motion to approve second reading.
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Floyd, second Mr. Burdette to approve the second reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And carries unanimously. Item number 7 in the public hearings, the planning board recommends approving an application by Lynn McKell Bremen to rezone 1.5 acres of 3.08 acres located at 5487 McCall Road from AR1 and B3 to AR2 to be combined with an adjacent parcel, map number 465M, parcel number 3B and 3B01 in the second district.
So this is a follow-up to the rezoning from last month where the Dollar General is going to go in the front parcel. When we rezoned some land, when we rezoned last month, it was a portion of AR1 to B3. So that left a little bit of B3 and a little bit of the AR1 just sort of hanging out there. So we're going to rezone those to AR2 and combine them with the large sort of flag lot rear parcel. So this is just cleaning that up.
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping.
Sounds good. Anyone tonight, public hearing, anyone want to speak for this rezoning? Anyone tonight that would like to speak against this rezoning? Seeing no one, will close the public hearing. So is there any discussion for the board or a motion?
Make a motion to approve alternative 1 with staff planning board recommendations.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Burdette, second Mr. Logan. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Any carries. Item number 8, second reading, consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Lynn McKell Brennan to rezone 1.5 acres of 3.08 acres located at 5487 McCall Road from AR1 and B3 to AR2 to be combined with an adjacent parcel, map number 465M, parcel number 3B and 3B01 in the second district. Motion to approve the second reading.
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
Motion by Mr. Burdette, do I have a second? Second, Mr. Kiefer, to approve the second reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Any carries. Item number 9 in the public hearings, the planning board recommends approving an application by Lisa Kilpatrick for a variance to allow for the use of a camper RV as a temporary residence during the construction of a dwelling for a property located at 117 Bird Road, map number 286, parcel number 7 in the 3rd district.
So the Kilpatricks live out of state and they purchased this property. There was a pole barn currently on it. They have a building permit for renovation turned into a home, and that work is underway. Inspections have already started. So when they visit from out of state to come and check on the progress, they want to be able to live in their RV. And that's what this is about. It's not a permanent, they're not living there currently. They just visit periodically to enjoy the property. So staff has recommended approval of this.
Okay. So we'll open a public hearing, see if anyone tonight wants to speak for this variance.
I'm Lisa Kilpatrick. I didn't know if I needed to
Come to the mic so we can get your name, please.
How are y'all doing tonight? I'm Lisa Kilpatrick, and I am the owner. My husband and I bought it to be closer to our kids and grandkids, and we do have a permanent home in Mississippi, which we are in the process of selling to move here permanently. We have a fifth wheel camper that would like to stay on site while the house is being built. It has been enclosed, and now we're trying to work to the next process of doing the interior. So if you have any questions.
All right, sounds good. We'll see if there's any questions from the public.
Okay.
Anyone else speaking again for tonight? Anyone speaking against this variance? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing, see if there's any question or discussion from the board. Entertain a motion.
Jimmy's not here, right? He's not on here. I'll make a motion to approve.
Yeah, he's not here.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Loper to approve, second by Mr. Kiefer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed no. And it carries unanimously. Second reading, consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Lisa Kilpatrick for a variance to allow for the use of a camper RV as a temporary residence during the construction of a dwelling for a property located at 117 Bird Road, map number 286, parcel number 7, 3rd District.
Make a motion to
Approve the second reading.
approve the second reading.
Motion Mr. Loper to approve the second reading, second by Mr. Burdette. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed no. And the second reading is approved. Item number 11, the planning board recommends approving an application by Robert Cook Jr. for a variance to reduce the rear setbacks of a property located at 314 Church Road to allow for an addition to the home, map number 3668, parcel number 33 in the 3rd District.
So this is a really unusual parcel. This is actually split by Church Road. That's one parcel. It has one parcel number, and there's a house on each side. So
Okay, that was confusing to me
Yeah.
on the information you gave us. I was looking at, couldn't figure out what that was about.
yeah. So on this side, there's a small structure. Here's an actual house, brick exterior, and they're putting an addition on the back, but it became clear that this, it's a total of an acre, but it's split, so it's this really small lot. There really isn't room in the AR1 zoning district. The setback requirements are larger than they are for other zoning districts. So either he had to rezone it to try to fit into a smaller, setback, or else just ask for a variance. So we opted to ask for a variance to accommodate the addition, which is going on the back of the house.
Yeah, because he could have done it differently. He got 25-foot variance, 25-foot setback, and he's still under 40 with his variance.
Yeah, he still had to come here, so we opted for the variance in order to expand the existing home.
So that's probably how it became non-conforming when the road split the parcel.
So it just depends on what shit. Okay, any one tonight speaking for this variance?
He's not here tonight.
Okay, anyone tonight speaking against approving this variance? Seeing no one, will close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve alternative one.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Burdette, second by Mr. Floyd to approve alternative 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed no. And it passes unanimously. Item number 12 is our second reading, consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Robert Cook Jr. for a variance to reduce the rear setbacks in the property located at 314 Church Road to allow for an addition to a home, map number 366A, parcel number 33 in the 3rd District. Motion to approve the second reading.
Make a motion to approve second reading.
Motion by Mr. Kiefer, second by Mr. Burdette to approve the second reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed no. And it carries unanimously. Item number 13, public hearing. The planning board recommends approving an application by Bill Hutchinson as agent for Dash Properties and Investments, LLC, to rezone a 10-acre parcel located at 518 Shirley Road from AR1 to AR2 to allow for 3 home sites, map 370C, parcel number 10 in the 4th District.
So this is 10 acres, which currently has a little home towards the front, and Mr. Hutchison is proposing to split 2 parcels in the rear and add an access easement to accommodate the 2 rear parcels.
Okay, we'll open the public hearing and see if anyone wants to speak for this rezoning.
Yes, we're, have the 10 acres there, and we'd like to divide it up into 3 lots.
And this is Mr. Darrell Hutchison speaking.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Darrell
Darrell
Hutchison. Okay. All right. Anyone tonight speaking for this rezoning besides Mr. Hutchison? Anyone speaking against it? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing and see if the board has any questions or discussion for you.
Make a motion to approve item number 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lopez, second Mr. Burdette, to approve alternative number 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Any carries.
Thank you.
Item number 14, second reading. Consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Darrell Hutchison as agent for Dash Properties and Investments, LLC, to rezone a 10-acre parcel located at 518 Shirley Road from AR1 to AR2 to allow for 3 home sites. Map 3, 370C, parcel number 10 in the 4th District.
Make a motion to approve the second reading. Second.
Motion by Mr. Lopez, second by Mr. Kiefer to approve the second reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. It carries unanimously. One last public hearing, number 15. The planning board recommends approving an application by April Brooke Zimmerer as agent of Shirley Ricketson to rezone 5.37 acres located at 180 Oakview Road from AR1 to AR2 to the creation of a home site, map number 411A, parcel number 16 in the 4th District.
This parcel is currently AR1, it's over 5 acres. The proposal is to split off 1.74 acres, as you see here in the survey, and that will leave both parcels below 5 acres, so the whole entire acreage has to be rezoned to AR2.
Open a public hearing. Anyone speaking for this rezoning?
Yes, sir. My name is April Zipper. Shirley Ricketson is my grandmother, and she just purchased a mobile home on that property, and my husband and I are wanting to build on the 1.74 acres.
Okay, very good. Thanks for being here. Anyone else speaking tonight for or against this rezoning? Seeing no one else requesting to speak for or against this rezoning, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve item number 1. Second.
Motion, Mr. Loper. Second, Mr. Kiefer, to approve alternative number 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. It carries. Second reading, consideration to approve the second reading of an application by April Brooke Zipper as agent for Shirley Ricketson to rezone 5.27 acres located at 180 Oakview Road from AR1 to AR2 to the creation of a home site, map number 411A, parcel number 16 in the 4th District. Motion to approve the second reading.
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Loper, second Mr. Floyd to approve second reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And it carries. And that concludes the public hearings tonight. We'll go back and pick up where we left off before we went to executive session, see if there's any reports from administrative staff tonight.
No, everything I needed to say was discussed in executive session.
Okay. Very good. Anybody else on staff? See if there's anything from the board or clerk?
Just reminder to you and Commissioner Floyd to contact Judge Mosley about your swearing in. You'll need to have that done before the end of the year. So just after.
I thought we had some discussion about doing it at our first meeting, inviting her. We didn't
She
talk about
said it has to be done before January 1, so.
before January 1. Okay.
I do it all at different times.
Yeah, different times. We're not doing it as a group. She's going to do you all in a group.
Okay.
21st.
That's just notes.
Okay.
And your monthly report for EOM, you have there.
All right. See if there's anything from commissioners.
Do we have a date for the retreat?
That's on my list. That's a good question. We have a date for our retreat.
Not yet.
Have we got any consensus about when we should do it?
No.
Do we look at our calendars right now and try to get a weekend?
Well, I was trying to get it now, so things don't start happening, look for a customer or something. Some advance notice.
I thought we were talking about doing it the weekend that we normally all kind of set aside for, if we did that day at the Capitol, since we probably, most of us have marked that, we're not doing that this year. I thought that might be a free weekend, if you want to do it on the 13th.
January, toward the end of January?
Right, that'd be like the 24th, 25th. No, I'm sorry, I'm not looking at December. Go back to January. I think that's like the 22nd or 3rd or 4th or 5th is in that area when we usually go to. That time.
What days of the week are we talking about?
It doesn't matter to me. We can do
Okay,
it
so,
Sunday. We can do it weekend before.
25th is a Monday.
Hmm?
The 25th is a Monday, or talking
Yes.
January?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can't do 25th.
How about the weekend before, weekend of the 15th? 14th, 15th, 16th, and there between like Thursday, Friday, and Saturday?
The weekend of the 15th?
Huh?
You said the weekend of the 15th?
Yeah, 15th.
And how long do we want? Do we want 2 days, or do we want 3, or just two big days?
The last time we had a retreat, we wish we had an extra day, because we were really riding through a line on the trip.
And we could do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and try to dismiss Sunday at lunch. And that would give you a little spell of it. We kind of negotiate that morning for our church.
Either go there that night and start early, or we just start early and show up, whenever work. We can get a lot of stuff done.
I tell you, if we're gonna do it Friday, Saturday, and split up Sunday, it'd be nice if we could get in there Thursday night.
Yeah.
What you saying?
Get refreshed, get in there, get an early start, get a good full day on Friday. And so,
Is that available?
So the
Maybe a morning on
14th.
Sunday? Just morning?
So arriving late Thursday evening on the 14th and going through Friday the 15th to Sunday the 17th. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
I could do either one of those weekends
schedules.
like that too.
I started
I'm
on,
open either one of those weekends as long as it doesn't run into the Monday. I'm fine with either one.
And the earlier we can do it, if we don't have any conflicts, that's 3 weeks after Christmas, and it's in between our board meetings, which would be nice.
Oh, yeah, true.
MLK Day is the 18th, that's a holiday, is that a holiday?
Yes.
Which I don't think that has anything to do with affects anybody.
So we'll have board meetings the 5th and the 19th?
And the 19th, yes, sir.
I'm okay with it.
19th.
We have a board meeting on the 5th and the 19th.
Either weekend will be attached to it.
Will you be able to get everything together for the meeting by the 14th?
If
I
we're
mean, you
gonna,
usually do.
I can, because it's distributed on the 14th, so it would be done.
I got one thing I have to check that I'm possibly on that weekend, but
All right, let's do this, let's plan the 14th, 15th, I'm sorry, 15th, 16th, and 17th, we're riding on the 14th. And if anybody has a copy, you get back, please email us sometime tomorrow. And Stephanie, let her know the conflict, and then you can put it back out and see if more people are available on the next weekend.
I'm good for either one.
Okay?
Good with either one.
So let's check that one first, and then get the second one, okay?
So the only variable would be if Mr. Deloach or Commissioner Deloach has.
Right. We need, if you can just get an email out and tell them that we're looking at the 14th, 15th, 16th.
And Forrest has to check.
yeah, I need to check one time.
Okay? Sure, good.
Anything, I guess, any key staff, making sure there's nothing that would need to be.
Either way, on that, whoever's calendar is
Well,
forward.
meet that night, 14th.
Yes, sir.
15th, 16th, 17th.
Okay. Something else I was thinking about, I can't just escape in my mind right now. Anybody else got anything else for tonight?
I don't have anything.
Merry Christmas, and have a happy New Year. Because I won't see y'all until after the first.
I'm gonna think of what it was about time to close this meeting, but if something I'm gonna bring up, I couldn't. Let's see. keep you on that one, I guess.
Save it
All
for
right,
next year.
we have, huh?
Save it for next year.
Save it for next year. We have a motion to approve the executive session minutes. I think you have them before you there.
Make a motion to approve the executive session minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Burdette, second by Mr. Keeper to approve the executive session minutes as presented. All in favor say aye. All opposed, no. And that is done. I don't see any other business, is that correct?
No, sir.
So we need a motion to adjourn, is it order?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Burdette, second by Mr. Keeper to adjourn. All in favor say aye. All opposed, no. And we are adjourned.